Greetings and salutations, it's me, Ali Muhammad Ali. Welcome again. And as you might notice, I've stopped using the application Screen Record. Among other things, you might have noticed a lot of different changes about this video. In short, today, the title of this is that we are going to be installing some applications that pertain to uh, GNUstep. We're going to be installing the GNUstep framework, most of the important sub-projects for that. And we're going to be installing it from source, since I'm not satisfied with the Debian repositories for it. I've tried some of the Debian repositories and they work functionally very well. And I've also tried to practice trying to install the GNUstep sources, since, it's kind of convoluted. But I decided to just go with one guide. On their website they have like lots of different guides for different situations, and there's one that's very extensive for for all the unices. But I feel like that one's kind of outdated, so I decided to use the one on the wiki page for Debian 9 and above, since that seemed very functional. And we're just going to try and install this as fast as possible. So that's for the title. Now you might notice that here, first of all, I'm not in Mate anymore, and that's because, of course, we're trying to fit the occasion. So what is GNUstep? From what I understand, well, GNUstep is an object-oriented cross-platform graphics toolkit. It's also a command line toolkit. It's also a server toolkit, but it's basically an object-oriented cross-platform toolkit that mimics the, how do you say, I think, OpenStep system, the OpenStep standard that was released by Next Company and later used by Apple to form something called Cocoa. So they're implementing things from the Apple Cocoa library and the framework, and they have AppKit stuff, a lot of different things that I'm not very familiar with because I've never done Apple development, but to me it seems very interesting. And I know there are a lot of successful projects that use GNUstep nowadays, even though it's quite a, how do you say, not the most popular framework because of course, the fact that GNUstep is all written in Objective-C, and that'll prove to have some issues. I'm not sure about installing it with, of course, GCC and some other things. I'll just go by the guide and try to install it with Clang, and later on compile my own code with GCC. But Objective-C was a language that was engineered based off of C, and it has message passing features, among numerous other features. And it came to be the language that was used to build most of the next step system, and it came into the OpenStep standard, and later was used by Apple for their AppKit and their Cocoa libraries. Now, as you might notice, Apple actually has things pretty aged. They use Swift now. They don't really use the Cocoa libraries. They might have tried to deprecate it. Well, regardless, we'll start. This is the guide here, but let's go to the GNUstep website to get their descriptions. So it's a set of frameworks suited for development of advanced GUI desktop applications or server, available on a variety of platforms and architectures, and closely follows Apple's Cocoa APIs. So, yeah, basically the thing that I described. And as you can see, if we were able to see, it's the 35th birthday of GNUstep, but from the date, let's actually open a separate thing here. Let's do date. It's a few days late, maybe like, how would you say, 16 days, so half a month, but still, the day might not really matter, just that it's nice. And also you can see there's a a really delicious looking GNUstep shaped cake that I'd like to have. So yeah, happy birthday GNUstep, very nice. What is my experience with the GNUstep project? Well, yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I want to say that I have some experience just testing out the GNUstep applications, and recently I've been trying to research how to write a good program. I've always been researching how to write a good program, and now I want to write a program in GUI, a GUI program. So there might be two toolkits that I'm trying to learn simultaneously, which might be strange. Which is, the first one is Qt, which is in C++, and the second one, for having fun, is GNUstep. And even without that, I just like using some of the apps provided by GNUstep. So really, we're just installing a framework. We're not doing much else. We might be soon to install. Oh wow, it's been 5 minutes. We might be soon to install some client applications made with the GNUstep framework that come to form sort of a good user experience. Now, I will have to note that it's not a desktop. So if you're looking for a desktop project, GNUstep is not a desktop project. They're making a framework. So they don't even have their own thing. There are some desktop projects based off of GNUstep. There's something called Etoile. It's pretty tightly knit with the GNUstep development. In fact, if you look on their pages, they're very similar. Etoile uses this, and some of the head GNUstep developers took stuff from the Etoile project, accepted it. So it's tied together. But Etoile is based on GNUstep. GNUstep is not a desktop. GNUstep is a framework, just like Qt is a framework, just like GNOME GTK is a framework, just like .NET and Apple Cocoa and other examples. Anyways, now that we looked through the pages, we looked through this. So this is the GNUstep sources. We'll be installing from source, because Debian has bad history with being always outdated. As you can see, we'll be first installing the GNUstep core, which is basically the framework itself. And then we might be able to install a couple of extra libraries or tools. The development tools come to be important, but to be honest, I just use Emacs. And then you might be able to get a user environment for GNUstep. So we'll just go through, we'll go through the core tools, development tools, hopefully, and then get some user environment apps to try them out. And as you can see, it recommends that we use Window Maker and libobjc, the Objective-C thing. We're using Window Maker right now. If I'm able to get the thing on Debian. This is the very old version. Window Maker doesn't really have a newer version, but yeah, this is the version, as you can see. So yeah, we're already halfway there. Now, let it be known, let it be heard, that I already tried, and I kind of failed to install the GNUstep core library and stuff. So I'm not really the expert here, but it's gonna be a fun adventure to try and see how I can install this. We've been 8 minutes in, so let's get quick and start installing then. So yeah, this is the page. You can read the URL. This just shows what you should install. These are dependencies. I might have installed most of them. So we already have Clang. We already have all of this. So let's become root. And cd GNUstep. I already have a directory for GNUstep, and I'm just gonna r dot. Okay, wait, / whatever. Now it's empty. And now we can just grab everything from the sources, and we'll have any dependencies that I might have forgotten about installed now. It's cloning everything. slowly but surely. So how do these work? There's 4 parts to the GNUstep framework. It should be good to mention. There's 4 parts. There's GNUstep make, since the thing is GNUstep projects are of their own thing, so they need their own make system. They don't, as far as I know, they don't really use automake. The framework itself is distributed in automake, but everything else that depends on GNUstep make, because it uses its own kind of system for making and building. Oh, it's done. And yeah, okay. Well, now we're supposed to be running scripts, install dependencies, and because I'm on Debian Trixie, I have written it correctly, right? Yeah, dependencies Linux. Yeah, the dependencies Linux just runs this for Linux, Debian or Ubuntu, and it installs some things. So we have Samba and ImageMagick. I don't know how I don't have ImageMagick installed, or maybe it's ImageMagick Common that I didn't need because it's for development and such. Yeah, and we have everything ready. It's just checking all the other programs. As you can see, I already tried last time. So the nice thing about this is that they get to install your dependencies for you very easily. You run a script. If we'd like to see, actually, let's actually have a second Sue, which is not recommended. Let's actually just go to GNUstep and then ls scripts. There's lots of cool there's install dependencies for Darwin kernels. There's one for FreeBSD. There's one for Haiku, and one for Windows, which is through MinGW. Some people prefer to do their Unix things on Windows through MSys. There's one for the BSDs, and there's one for Debian. Oh, install GNUstep LVM 18 for Debian. No. We'll be installing manually. Thank you very much. Well, now that we have that, lib econv, this is again for Debian 9, so we're not going to go through that. And we'll have to set some things. So we'll set the library to use user bing clang -8 export cxx is equal to /user/bin/ clang ++-8 export path. Now, since we're installing it to user local as the prefix, we'll be using this user local bin user sbin. But now that I think about it, I think if I already have user local in here, I could just do path and then echo path. Sorry, it's the morning. I want to do this quickly. Yep. So we now have this temporary environment where path is this way. We're installing to user local. Since this is like not this is not from the package manager, we're installing from source. So we'd like to keep it at least separated so that if something goes wrong in our source installed thing, we won't have to deal with we won't have to mess around with the package manager and mess it up also. I don't want to mess up my whole system. So it isolates things, right? And it says export runtime version. Now, this is a pretty outdated guide. I looked through this last time. The actual version that the developers are on is GNUstep 2.2. So, as of current date, we'll export runtime version to be GNUstep 2.2. Trust me on this, it's not 2.0. Good. And the package config path. Now, the GNUstep developers seem to have built a dependency on LD Gold, since maybe there might be some differences between the regular LD and LD from LLVM, maybe I might do a separate video where I try out do installing with, you know, my preferred set of tools, or my stubborn set of tools, since I'm not really a GNUstep developer. Hopefully I might try with like regular LD and GCC and the GCC Objective-C runtime and see how those work, since I just don't like LLVM. I have a pet peeve with it. I just want, you know, something, I don't know, easier to understand, sorry, easier to wrap my head around. I'm used to GCC, I just like GCC. Regardless, you have to do package, config, pass, some free desktop things. You do user, local, lib, package config. You can't pronounce these words, sorry. Then export LD is user bin LD gold. I should open up some notes. So let's actually get something here for notes. Can I just open up Emacs or something? Yeah, I'll just open up a separate terminal and type in stuff into Emacs. Hey, okay. Let's do Emacs. Oh no, not graphical Emacs. No thanks. Graphical Emacs is way too big for this. CXP scratch. Open. Oh, come on. Yeah, okay. So to get LD gold, you must install something like sudo apt install packages like what is it, bin utils gold, or bin utils common, possibly bin utils gold your architecture here, which is for me x86 64 Linux GNU, since I use GNU's libc and I'm on Linux and I use x86 64. Yeah, that's all. So we'll just be doing that, just in case you might not have LD gold on your system on a, you know, fresh Debian. And export LD flags, which is equal to -fuse LD, good, and fuse LD is equal to user bin LD gold. So again, it's just making sure that whatever LD we use, it's the gold one, and the flags, if it's regular LD, it has a flag to use this specific path, and some Objective-C flags to be F blocks, and we seem to be done. So now we must go in and get libdispatch. This is from something called Grand Central Dispatch. I really hope I can compile. The last time I tried this, there were some headers that were missing, so we might be jumping into source code a little. Let's make dir build, cd build, and let's run cmake. Don't like cmake. Why can't you just use automake or something? C compiler is equal to expand variable cc, and we'll just write it regularly. dcmake cxx compiler cxx dcmake build type is equal to release. If I was a developer, I'd choose debug, but I'm not. Use gold linker is equal to yes. Seems to be now the new project, they don't have this variable. You'll get an error like that of some kind. Yeah, so what does this say? It says user bin clang 8 is not a full path to an existing tool. Tell cmake where to find the compiler by setting either the environment variable cc or the cmake cache entry. Oh, yeah, I have a problem. I don't have clang 8 installed, so let's go back and do export cc to be clang 19. Sorry guys, again, it's the morning, I don't have, okay, clang 19, yeah, and export cxx slash user slash bin slash clang plus plus dash 8, nope, not 8, 19, good. So make sure clang versions match the ones installed, please. Yeah, let's keep that around. Let's try again. To install, yep, see, it does these things, but it's gonna give us a yellow warning that there's no such thing as use gold linker anymore. And I don't think it's necessary. Oh, we're done. So now that we're done, now that we have this, what in the world? Okay, now we're in build. It says cmake dot dot, but now we should make J4, not J40. J40 is like 40 parallel jobs. I think 4 parallel jobs is enough. And yeah, just have that. You know, I was recently researching how I use recursive. Alright, now that you're done, now that you configure this, I think, shouldn't you be doing ld config before? ld config doesn't it? Oh, okay. Let's just make install then. Yeah, just install this in. It installs to user local. See guys? Look at this. Since we set it in the environment variables. Now let's run ld config like it says. If you don't have ld config, I hope that doesn't come back to bite us in the behind. Now that we're done, of course, we have to get libobject-c2, GNUstep make, and GNUstep base. So now I can go back into explaining. Listen, GNUstep makes the build system. Then you have GNUstep back. You need GNUstep back to get the it's like driver code to interface with the specific operating system's GUI. So on Windows that might be, I think, Win32. On Linux that might be X11 or Cairo. I prefer to build it with Cairo. I think the Cairo one works best. This is from experience. I tried it out. So you know, interface to Cairo on Linux, and on Apple you might interface to, you know, just regular things. And actually on Apple they don't need that, do they? And then what is it? Yeah, that's what GNUstep back is. GNUstep GUI provides some user side classes and objects that can be used to construct a GUI. So, you know, GUI depends on back. And base is the base, is based on the name. So yeah, we're gonna build GNUstep make, then GNUstep base. Okay, make, then base, then core base, then back, then GUI. Something like this. Actually, back or GUI because they can switch around. You can build GUI things without the back. Possibly. I might be speaking alone on this. Regardless, yeah. Let's just compile libobject-c2. You can read this. It says, to understand the context here, the Objective-C compiler needs a runtime. So we're compiling a runtime, right? And we can't use the runtime from GCC. The GNUstep developers seem to have noticed something's wrong with it. They explain this here. And they say some things can get out of control because if you get this wrong, you might end up with objects no longer using the right position of variables in the data of super or subclasses, and things can totally get out of control. So, you know, things mess up, glitch out, let's say, if you use the wrong runtime, since some runtimes are not fully implemented. So the new non-fragile ABI is really the way to go, and such and such. So once we have a runtime library, which is a requirement, there's also a base library, which corresponds to Apple's Foundation framework. Yeah, so base corresponds to this. Implements basic functionality that you need for anything, right? So it's kind of like standard library stuff. And yeah, and once your NS object, NS object is very important. NS object's like, it's kind of like T in Common Lisp, if that makes sense. And GNUstep is an open source re-implementation of NextStep and the Foundation and AppKit classes. So I was wrong, it's not on OpenStep. Maybe Foundation's based on OpenStep. It's kind of a confusing history. There's 3 other libraries, which are GNUstep GUI, GNUstep back. I understand this as far as possible. For macOS is Aqua. Okay, and you need to have these things. Right, so now we're gonna go to libobjc2. Okay, cd back libobjc2. Okay, we're in here. We're gonna make dir build and cd build, and you can just paste commands right in if it's possible. Yep, just like that for cmake, and it does all that for us. We could look at some of the flags. dcmake, you have to build a release. You use a static. You make a static libobjc2, so it gets compiled into everything. Wait, dbuild static libobjc. Is this, why build it as a static object? Why not a shared library? Or no, wait. No, sorry. It is a shared library. You're supposed to do that. It's a shared library. I think. Wait. I mean, if you're compiling it, it must be a shared library. Well, we'll look at make install and find out what it is. It uses a C compiler, the CXX compiler, and the linker flags that we specified. And then make J4. It just builds those things for us using cmake. Thanks. Methinks it's good. It's gonna get to 90% maybe. How many minutes have we been on? Yeah, okay, let's see. Maybe like 28 minutes. Okay, we're close. And now we have the target. We completed. Now let's make install. Old export file will be replaced, whatever. And it's with CPC. Yeah, it's a standard. No, there's a shared library if you'd like, but it seems to have all the headers, so static library. Sorry, I should have compared it to the C++ standard library, which is just headers, and in this case you can compile it as a shared object if you'd like. The functions can be used as shared objects. Now we do ld-config. Hopefully that's there. Nope, it's not there. Okay, let's make test. There's no rule to make test. Alright, cool. Very interesting. Make test? There's no make test. We don't need the tests. You could do install GNUstep make. Okay, this part is outdated. You don't need this. And of course for the version, we already know what the real version is, so let's go to make, and we're going to export runtime version to be GNUstep /2.2. We're not going to go into the file. Now remember, it's 2.2 now. Why do you want to know that it's 2.2? Cat in what file is it? GNU make file. Okay, wait, ls cat. Oh wait, dot in dot post sample. Oh yeah, they have automake in the thing here. What is it? Cat. Let me remember what it was. Config.ac. Yeah, cat configure.ac. Oh yeah, here it is. So, or library combo.make. Sorry, I need to read. Look, it says edit the file library combo. And let's go into more. Object-C runtime version. Yeah, see, look, runtime version is GNUstep 2.2, right? If equal runtime version to something, then it sets it to a specific amount. But we already have regular runtime version, so we know that it's actually 2.2. The developers updated that, so we know what version of GNUstep we have. We don't need to do all this. Anyways, we're in make. We just do .configure with layout file hierarchy system with default stir to be config, with config file to be this, with library combo to be this, install this config. Okay, yeah, this is of course to get the configure script to run. Okay, but let's go through this quickly. We have the file hierarchy system, the standard GNU file hierarchy system. We will not import a config file. We'll enable Objective-C exceptions. Objective-C arc. I don't know what arc is. Anyways, you can install in the LD shared object into the configuration, and yeah, it uses this. It uses a user local GNUstep thing. So this depends on the what is it? File hierarchy system here. So this one depends on this. Yeah, with the config file being this is in the user directory, and the defaults are in GNUstep library defaults. Yeah, this is for the user home thing. So if you go to library and defaults, you can set the defaults. Yeah, so far it makes sense and just checks things and it works. Sorry, I should keep this in full view so you can see everything. Then you make maybe J4. All's ready. It's all ready. Okay. G make install. Thankfully we're on a free software system. We're on a GNU system. We don't need to type G in our tools. We already know the free software. Let's make install. And we're done. Yeah, we have GNUstep make. We go to install base /base configure. Wait. ./configure. You have to run the configure script with config file is equal to. Let's not cover this. Let's move this here. Maybe okay. Is this local. Okay, use the same thing. User local etc GNUstep GNUstep.conf. Okay, we have this. Maybe that's some kind of configuration. Again, I'm not sure entirely. Okay, that's autoconf on its way. That's the .configure script doing its thing. It's gonna configure the thing based on the system. Read it and weep. Okay, we're done. Now we just make install. Oh wait, no, we make first. Sorry, we make first. On my system, I can do 4 jobs, and it compiles all the files there. Then after that, we make install. and we could check if there's a target to check. Hopefully they still have that target. Yeah, just takes a little time. You can see these are some really important things. So NS decimal, NS error, big stuff. Object-oriented programming will be very fun. In this, there's notifications, NS object. NS object's the essential, it's the grandfather of all the classes. There's a warning here, I guess, for one of the implementations. So far, GNUstep base is complete. They have, from what I heard, they have a complete, description for all the Objective-C standard library things. So yeah, okay, now we're done. Now we do make install pip done. It'll deconfig yet again, but if we fail, let's do make check. Actually, I tried this out. They're good. They wouldn't have changed their code base so quickly in like maybe a day. Now we're done for GNUstep base. We go to core base, and we do .configure, and it finds things. And we make J4 with 4 jobs. Make install for GNUstep core base. That's the nice thing about this, it all uses automake, so we can just jump into GUI, we do .configure and make install. Wait, we're in GUI, no. Yeah, this is it. Okay, .configure. Right, cannot find the auxiliary files. This. Yeah, perhaps this is the thing that I didn't have. Let's do less on the README, the regular README. This is the license. This is the feedback. This is the code owners, the announce, the bugs. Let's do auto scan. Okay. Autoconf configure.ac-o configure. I think automake should be. I have no experience in this really. Right, you do automake. And then makefile am found. No makefile am found for any configure output. Okay, less configure. This is probably not what's allowed, but this is what I should. This is what I can do. You just .configure, please. Yeah, that's a strange thing. Oh yeah, I remember. Their .configure doesn't work naturally. Yeah, okay. Their .configure doesn't work alone in some of their projects, so must just YOLO it. Let's YOLO it. You do make, and it does the look. Their make does the configure thing, but their .configure doesn't do the make thing. I can't question it, can you? You just gotta install it like that. There's NS button, NS GUI, NS combo box, NS controller, NS cursor, NS data link. Big stuff. Yeah. Good stuff. So, you know, just have all that getting installed, and there's OpenGL contexts, so everything works quite grand and nice. NS scrubber, a split check. There's NS window. Oh, there's GS. GS is there. Okay, yeah, I was gonna say GS is their special classes that they're adding on, that they get to use. Stuff that hasn't been implemented by default in there. Okay, G spell's not very important for us. GS spell, not really. So we might not have a good spell checker when we go in, but that's fine. We can check later. Let's make install, then we know GS spell will fail. Yep. Nothing to be done for this. But perhaps there's something else after GS spell, so let's go fix it. Error while loading shared library, GNUstep base, cannot open object file, .so.1, resources. So there's nothing like, yeah, this is error 1, internal error, this internal error 2. Okay, this is the specific thing. Okay, ls/user/local/lib GNUstep base.so.1 31. So we do have the library lib GNUstep base, but it's not being found. If we go to object make services, we cannot open up the file. Okay, we'll go to cd object /object/make services. Okay, wait, ls here, right? There's some directory. There's an O here. No, there isn't. Make services. Is make services here. Dot object. User local share make files instance. Okay, wait. ls/user/local/share and /GNUstep. Okay, /make files. So they have their make files /objc.make. Is this objc.make? Is this the one that they object make services? What in the... Well then, something lib GNUstep base so.1.31 cannot open up shared object. How do you get everything. How do you get this to the GS spell to work? I want everything to work fully. So it's like you can't open it. It's not finding it there. User local share GNUstep make files instance service.make. Just spell this error 1. User local share GNUstep make files master rules. Error 2. User local show whatever. Internal error. But the big error was gspell.service/resource/info GNUstep plist. cdgs okay, let's make. Right, if we make nothing to be done for GS spell. Okay, let's do less on the GNU make file. Let's look through the Scott Chrisley. So GS spell GNUstep GUI, GNUstep preamble, GNUstep make. Okay, echo // make services something GNUstep make files doesn't always work. Creating GS spell service resources. Let's see, internal tool compile, nothing to be done for internal service compile, all libg model, making all in tools, making all for service GS spell, nothing to be done for internal service compile. Okay, internal, then just copying. Okay, config. Okay, no, that's not. Wait. How do you include? Give me a minute here. Let me just close this door. What in the world am I supposed to do here for the GUI? There's GS spell. That seems not to work. Okay, let's go to tools. We might be indicated. Okay, GS spell.service, and let's do less on this. Okay, wait, let's go to object, make services. So this is where it failed. It failed in make services. So let's do less make services. Service. Services, please. Yeah. Okay, dot object. It seemed to have gotten compiled like this. I want to remember how you're supposed to include shared libraries, because I know this is an issue now. Shared library path Linux. I hate this. Okay, shared library environment variable ld library path Okay, wait. Echo LD library path. It's not. I don't think I have it. For shared libraries. Okay, let's do. Okay, if that's the thing, let's do LD library path is equal to user local share. Okay, no, user local lib. There, that's it. And then we go dot dot slash dot dot. You go make. Yeah, it makes everything using this library here. It's recompiling everything. And let's do make install. If GSpell worked, GSpeech, the GSpeech, whatever. Yeah, GSpell worked, guys. Just using this. So you giving it a path, it works. So let's go write that here. LD library path. You should do export LD library path to be user local lib. To get all the installed libraries. Yo. Okay, let's keep that there. And now we install everything, and it installs with no problem. So things are all hunky-dory. Now we may do ld-config, which fails. Now we're gonna go to back.configure. Doesn't work, let's just make. And make runs a .configure. What in the world does it do? What kind of black magic goes on in there? I'm not trying to find out. And look at that. It works. Cairo is now found. There it is. Yeah, so I installed it with Cairo, so now it's using that. Now that we're done with make, we do make install. Installs everything. Go cd out. That's it. So let's look here. So we don't need libiconv. We did lib obj-c. We did the back core base GUI make Swift core libs lib dispatch, the great dispatch library. Oh no, Grand Central Dispatch. Yeah, that's the name. So now we have all the GNUstep things. We can go back here. We've configured it, right? We've installed it. We've done our installation. Now let's go to do a user keyboard setup. User keyboard setup for GNUstep library. So the keyboard setup, OpenStep requires 3 different things by default. So I think there's like defaults library, defaults things. Okay. Defaults delete these preferences. I am not sure. There's something called system preferences. Do we have system preferences? Preferences installed? No. We don't have system preferences installed. But we have defaults. So we'll be good. Defaults write this, defaults write that. There's user keyboard setup, there's user defaults for GUI and back. And now we have user applications. Now I know what I want to do. We did this. We don't need the extra stuff for now. We need basic things. There's G workspace and GNUstep apps. There's user applications, the system preferences, yeah. So system preferences, you can find it through the main website. Let's go here, it has its introduction. download system preferences. So let's go down here and let's make their GNUstep apps. So this is separate from GNUstep. We'll just be installing apps here. So let's git clone github.com GNUstep apps system preferences.git. Done. And let's see here. Make does things for us. Great stuff. Everything succeeds. You just run make and it works. So okay, GNUstep make system only one command where just make does this, and it's done. Now we do make install ls/user/local/bin, and system preferences is now installed in user local.bin. So let's run. Let's actually run here. Okay, wait, no, cx2. And this is okay. mx shell. Let's do system preferences. Wait, that's a stupid way to start system preferences. No. You go here and you type system preferences. Could not do that. Exec system okay. Settings, come on. It's gotta be here. Time and date manager. Where in the world? Synaptic. Utility. GovCView. Oh, I know. I didn't give the real path. That's the problem. Okay, you have to do user local bin system preferences. What? Authorization required but no authorization protocol specified. Uncut exemption in NS Windows server communication. Unable to connect to X server. This. Uh-oh. Something is wrong. So clearly, this does not really work. So let's go here to GNUstep. Let's go to GNUstep back. Make. Everything succeeds. Make install. There's no problem. Yeah, it all succeeds then. Oh, I know. As root, you might not get access to the server, right? So then, let's try it from Emacs. Why not? I mean, all I'm asking for is that it just runs. While loading shared library, this cannot open this. Okay. Export ld library path is equal to user local lib. Yes, guys, we did it. Now we have something GNUstep. Look at this. Success. I gotta keep my voice low because someone's sleeping in the other room. Well, yeah. System preferences works. And look at these animations. Oh, this is wonderful. We have the modifier keys. Let's do that. First, command. There's command, there's alternate, there's control. First control, left control. Second control, right control, please. Yep. First alternate, left alt, second alternate, alt ger. Yep. Now we do meta or hyper. I'm not sure. Okay, left super, right super, and we're done. We do that. We have the fonts. We don't need the fonts. We have the default date and time. I'm not gonna tell you what city I'm in. Look, Athens. Yeah, they have a lot of good, cities here, but I think it should allow us to set our own locations. There's some themes. You can get themes in. Oh, this is wonderful. This is great. This is great stuff. So there has to be a way to get the library path to be installed. So all of our GNUstep apps are there. We can just get them started. So now that we know that works, then it works. It's functional. So we're not gonna go for any themes, but we have our first app here. So part of our process has succeeded, right? And let's go look for more applications. We have G workspace. Let's go grab /GNUstep apps. Let's go. What is the GitHub link for this? Yep, apps G workspace. Okay, so git clone https:/github.com/GNUstep/apps G workspace. Let's get the newest G workspace. We're getting the newest everything. Yep. And let's make install. No targets and nothing found. Oh yeah, okay, we have to do .configure. Let's read the readme at least. So it says inspired by the next workspace manager, recycler. Okay, let's cat the install. See what that is. These are the commands that can get things to installed. Yeah, we have up to date everything. You must run the GNUstep initialization script first. G workspace requires GNUstep to be installed. To enable the new metadata, the GNUstep initialization script. Okay, user local bin. What is GNUstep initialization script? Is it here? Apps wrapper config.log configure AC GNU make file. Can I just run make? So there's something called a GNUstep initialization script. How do you run that? I don't know. There's building GNUstep. There's on BSD. Then what is it? Compiling? Okay, there's a build guide. There's a build guide for this. There's the GNUstep and friends, GNUstep configuration. Alright, so basic tools, G workspace. You get .configure, make to build G workspace, build this. Come on. Building the Cairo backend. Building GNU. Okay, let's read this carefully. Credits Objective C, GNUstep and friends. Okay, we build the make file system, the foundation, the app kit. Right, we did make, we did base, we did what is it? What's it called? We did GUI and then core, base, and base. Then we built we didn't build any extensions. So there's something called initialization. So basic configurations in the defaults, changing the backend, system backend, localization, language settings, application settings, GNUstep things. There's a boot script with the name gsboot. If GNUstep is not default in this, set this variable to the GNUstep makefile directory. Okay. Creates a symbolic link to your boot script when you use systemv style init scripts or start this. Oh, okay. So if we do user GNUstep system, no, our actual GNUstep is not there. You have to go local share. Local share GNUstep. Okay, we go there to make files. That's the place. And something gsboot. GNUstep.csh, gswapp, GNUstep. Come on, something here. NSI template file system.sh, GNUstep auxiliary. Create the following script. What does this do? It just sets GNUstep makefiles. But what does it actually do? GNUstep makefiles, and then GNUstep sh. Okay, I might actually add this since I do use systemv. But now, for the time being, let me just bookmark this. Yeah. There that is. We just go boot script. So we just need to set the environment variable. So we do export GNUstep make files to be, what do you say, /user /local share GNUstep /make files. Done. Now we do GNUstep make files /GNUstep.sh, and it says permission denied. Oh, okay, like this then. Right, sorry, I added a slash at the end of that. Local share GNUstep make files GNUstep.sh. Permission denied. Okay, chmod. Wait, stat GNUstep make files /GNUstep.sh. Oh, it doesn't have execute permissions. Oh, I should have known. Well then, change mod +x. Now we have this initialization script ready. Now we can do .configure. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. GNUstep needs to start at GNUstep makefile /GNUstep.sh. Yep, now that we did that, .configure works. Let's do make. There's no PDF kit, there's no PDF viewer. That's fine. We'll work around that. FSN browser scroll. Very, very interesting. Good that it's compiling now. Preferences has a bunch of other things. Extern pref, fiend. Alright, done. So G workspace is made. Let's make install. ls/user/local/bin. We now have G workspace. So let's go and start user local bin G workspace. And wow, G workspace. Can I get the hide others, show all? Okay, as you can see, it's just let's do Alt H here. Okay, we have basically made our little GNUstep thing. So we're officially just testing out some things. You know, it has its own little file manager. It's got its own terminal. Do we have terminal? Nope. It starts extern. Yeah, that kind of reminds me. We should go get another app. We should go compile more and more apps. So we did the initialization script. We need to go install more things. How can we grab a lot of apps, since we know we can install some of these quite easily? Could we go to the GNUstep something? So the last version was 1.1.0. Let's see if it's anything newer. Nope. It's the same thing, but they seem to have made an update. Okay, so let's credit the authors here. You know, hi Ricardo Motola. I think Ricardo Motola was the original GNUstep guy. Then after that, there was a project maintainer guy, Gregory Casamento, who became the new maintainer. So, copyright, yeah, 2003. So, yeah, I think I know that thing. So, Ricardo Motola was the previous maintainer of the GNUstep project, so a lot of things are under his name. Oh yeah, and here's the guy for the system preferences app. Good stuff. Let's go and see more user applications. We have G workspace. We have G workspace user guide. I don't really need that. I also have the GNUstep wallpaper. It's good to note that GNUstep has its own shade of blue. So, you know, that's nice. Its own shade of blue. Now let's go install more things. So, let's go get clone a list of okay, let's go to applications list. It's on the wiki. Full list of apps that we can go get. We can go get terminal.app. We can go get the GNUstep Emacs. GNUstep build of Emacs. Let's grab a couple of things. So these are some things that, you know, I think are very nice to getting a good little application environment, little desktop environment. It's kind of pseudo desktop environment. Again, it's not yet. Let's go get terminal.app. There's Ulit. a game, you can go play some games. We have step sync, we have Sudoku. Sudoku would be really nice actually. So let's go get Sudoku. As you can see, I already got Terminal, and they also have their own app called Text Edit. It's like Apple's Text Edit. See, they're mimicking a bunch of like Apple things, you know, making them open source, so people who are used to the Apple environment have their things here. There's Sudoku. You can play some Sudoku games. You can go play with the terminal. And what's Timemon? Timemon should be time monitor, right? Timemon gives a graphical representation of where the CPU cycles are going. It's coarse, but it's better than nothing. I think I want to go find a clock. A clock. Ulit linkeos el usernet ink.app. Ink.app. I will never use GNUstep to open my PDFs. I'll just use XPDF. There's Emacs. Emacs in GNUstep will be very interesting. I wonder how they'll manage with other things. So there's A clock. A clock is a